chillin', serial killing, pre-core villains on the mic, got you reeling. 5-star rated from the floor to the ceiling. If you catch a 1-star, no time for feelings. Got a demon DJ on the ones and twos, by the name Beelzebub, so don't get confused. So grab a seat by the fire, roast them all over two, and prepare to hear the legend of the Straight Chillin' Crew.
What up, nerds, and welcome to another freakishly handsome episode of Straight Chilling, the weekly horror movie review show where you chill and we kill, slice, dice, and chop up yet another horror movie. My name is Bob. I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode 553, recorded on Tuesday, November 11th, 2025. Tonight, we're talking about the latest from Guillermo del Toro. The movie is Frankenstein. Before we get into it, let me introduce everyone else on the show tonight. First up, calling in from Washington, D.C., we got your boy, Rand Diesel. What's up, Randy?
Deluded little daddy.
What's going on, baby? You ready to talk about some spooky monsters and science gone awry?
Dude, I cannot wait to discuss it. This is one for the behind the scenes folks. I'm just now realizing your sweater says rigatoni, I believe.
Yep. Well, it's like the first cold day of the season, and I'm wearing the lovely gift from our friend Matt. And he got this for me last Christmas, I believe, or maybe
Beautiful.
2 Christmas ago.
What a thoughtful gent of a man. Love to see it.
We like to bring some noodle energy to the game here.
Big noodle energy here at Straight Chilling.
Big noodle energy. That's what we do.
Speaking of big noodle energy, last but not least, calling in from Seoul, South Korea, home of the longest noodles you ever have seen. We got your boy Soju. What's up, man?
Oh, what up? It's your boy Frankensteins, boys. Here we are.
Mangstangs.
Have we horseshoed?
Full loop. Here we go.
Yeah, we've reached the event horizon of multiple jokes.
The circle of life.
Oh, boys. This is like the 4th or 5th Frankenstein property I've talked about this year for this podcast, because I did a Penny Dreadful minicast.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Reanimator. We talked about Frank and Mang a couple weeks ago, and this one now. I feel like I'm probably missing one too.
There's probably one more in there somewhere.
Yeah.
They tend to creep up on you.
Yep.
Yeah, they do. GDT coming back on Netflix. We got a lot of shit to talk about. Let's blast through a little bit of housekeeping real quick before we get into it. So, our December poll is currently posted over on our Patreon website. If you guys support us at the $5 level or above, you get the chance to vote on a movie we're talking about this December. The theme for December is sleigh bells, and the 3 movies you're voting between are Day of the Beast, Saint or Scent, and The Wolf of Snow Hollow.
Oh. Wow, how those Christmas polls looking? Christmas numbers. The last poll of the year, boys.
It is.
Well,
Oh my god.
that we'll be watching this year.
This year, yeah.
For this year.
Oh my
Slight
god.
changes, but nothing too crazy. Day of the Beast, last place with 25% of the vote. Scent, second place with 31% of the vote. First place, The Wolf of Snow Hollow with 44% of the vote.
I was about to say, whoa, tight race, but got a clear winner there. That's good though.
Put the cookie down now.
Time to start nibbling on those Christmas cookies, eh, boys?
It's time.
Hell yeah.
I only nibble. I like to go at it like squirrel level.
You know, you got to make them last the whole Christmas season, you know? Just get a little nibble in there.
If you can do that, you're a stronger man than I, because I plow through Christmas cookies in this season.
It's just cookies and nog, baby. Pounding them down.
All day.
Oh my god.
Jesus. Oh, my Lord.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
That's how you bulk
Too
up.
old for that now, Randy.
That's
Come
how
on
you
now.
bulk up.
I'm the right age for that. Nothing to do but balloon up and
I'm just
fall right
bulking,
into the
baby.
grave.
I'm just bulking.
All
Cultivating
dairy and
mass
carbs.
for the holidays.
It's my Christmas bulk.
Trying to get merry. Yeah, get your votes in before the end of the month. We'll see what we're talking about this December. In other Patreon news, we're dropping mini-casts every other Friday. Next up, dropping this Friday on the 14th of November, we got a brand new mini-cast coming at you. Your boy Me is talking about The Black Phone 2.
Whoa,
The
the
Chinese
big
correspondent
black-
is back.
Yeah, the big black phone of deuce. Here we go. Eager to hear what hear that.
What they should have called it. They really missed a great opportunity. Marketing. I mean, come
I
on.
need to work for marketing.
Just the marketing.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over to the marketing building where they can get apply with the marketing executive jobs.
You guys really got to
give me
start
one of
pushing
those.
this Soju the Man Soju. 'Cause you're missing
Marketing
out.
specialist Soju
That's
the
just
man.
that's the kind of ideas Soju brings to the table, baby. Those are the kind of marketing ideas that just flow right
I'm
out.
an
of me.
ideas man. What? I'm an
Genius.
ideas man.
Some might say.
All I need is a few get her done guys, and the ideas man can really make you some
You,
money.
Larry the
Now
Cable
I can
Guy?
just get a couple AI programs and they'll do it for me. I don't even need.
Ooh.
Genius.
I know. I can just crank this shit out.
Oh man.
Anyways, check that out over on Patreon this Friday, the Black Phone 2. That's all we got happening on Patreon. You guys have anything that you need to plug?
Nah,
Clean this
dog.
week.
Yeah.
Cool. Last thing
You all
I'll
set,
say is at the time of you
Of
listening to
course
this, we'll have a brand new episode of Let's Get Physical Media posted everywhere you get your podcast. Your boy Mikey and myself, we're talking about our October pickups. Blu-rays, 4K.
Physical media.
Physical.
Physical media, Bob.
Maybe some books, maybe some vinyl. You never know. We talk about it. Let's get physical media everywhere you get your podcast.
Y'all's is literate?
I know
Is
like
book-
3 to
book is
5
not
words.
media, Bob.
Oh shit.
That's digital. Everybody knows. I think our house is squeaky clean.
This house is clean.
All right, let's get into the main event. We're talking about Frankenstein, and we're kicking it off with the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
Bob, what's the back of your Netflix account say?
Yeah. What's that credit card on there? What's that say?
What's the number on there? This
Bob, do you think they're ever going to release this on physical media?
I do. Yeah, I would be surprised if they didn't. His Del Toro's Pinocchio movie, which was also produced by Netflix, did get a nice Criterion release, so they'll probably do the
Okay.
same for this, I would think. Knowing
There
Del
you
Toro, he probably has that in his contract.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
Gotta
Yeah,
be.
that makes sense.
So yeah, this is not out for pre-order or anything, but I would imagine within the next year or so, you'll probably see a Criterion release for this. But this is a brand new movie. This did get a limited theatrical release. I don't think it's in theaters anymore now that it is on Netflix. Could be wrong about that. But yeah, Frankenstein, rated R with a runtime of 2 hours and 29 minutes. This was written and directed by Guillermo del Toro, obviously based on the extremely famous novel from your girl, Mary Shelley. This stars Oscar
what now?
Isaac. A book? Is that real?
Book.
Is it media?
It's media. Jacob Elordi. Christopher Waltz, Christoph Waltz, rather. Mia Goth Times 2, Felix Kammermer, Charles Dance, David Bradley's in this, some other lovely, wonderful folks. Plot synopsis brought to you by IMDb is as follows. Dr. Victor Frankenstein, a brilliant but egotistical scientist, brings a creature to life in a monstrous experiment that ultimately leads to the undoing of both the creator and his tragic creation. Brand new movie, first time watch for all three of us here. Gentlemen, would you recommend the folks at home check out Frankenstein? Randy, why don't you kick us off?
Yes. First time watch, obviously. Having also seen quite a bit, not quite as much as Juice, but quite a bit of Frankenstein adjacent material. Yeah, I would say so. And, it's Guillermo del Toro. If nothing else, you're going to walk away with a pretty unique experience. Yeah, definite recommend.
Right on, Juice. What about you?
Yeah, I would recommend people check this out. It's Del Toro. You got to do it. But I will say, just to prepare people for maybe a good discussion, I am one of those people. It seems like this movie's getting a lot of high praise, and I have some reservations about it. So
Anthony Bourdain would be so disappointed in you.
I know. So prepare for that. But I generally, yes, I would recommend people check this out. Just strap in. It's a long one. But Bob, how about you? Would you recommend people check this out?
I'm over here bringing the parts unknown just to balance things out.
Oh,
Yeah.
we know, Bob. Those are known
Bob,
parts.
they're known. They're
There's
known. They're well known.
They're well-established parts, let me tell you that.
I'm just throwing it around these streets. I
call bullshit on that.
definitely recommend this one. Del Toro he's a modern day master, and I would recommend probably anything he puts out. It's definitely worth your time, and as easy as it is to access, it being on Netflix, there's really no reason not to. So slam it into your eyeballs. That sounds like a hearty recommendation from the Straight Chilling crew.
Hard and hardy.
Hearty recommendation. We're going to be spoiling the shit out of Frankenstein, and here comes your warning.
Spoiler warning.
Whoa, Bob, you gonna go ahead and read us that plot synopsis?
Whoa.
Plop it on us, Big Diddy.
Here we go. Brace for impact. All right, the movie opens up with a prelude in 1857. We see a ship trying to reach the North Pole. It gets stuck in the ice, and they end up finding and saving Victor Frankenstein from the creature he has created. Victor begins to tell his tale. We see a young Victor learning how to be a surgeon. His mother ends up dying, giving birth to his young brother. And Victor vows to one day conquer death, something his father failed to do. Victor grows up and meets a wealthy financier named Harlander, who fully funds his research. Harlander is dying from syphilis and hopes Victor can maybe one day save him. Harlander falls down Victor's high-ass tower and dies. Victor assembles the perfect man out of corpses and ends up bringing him to life. He immediately chains him up in the basement and leaves him there. Victor's brother and fiancée Elizabeth show up to check on Victor, make sure he's doing okay. Victor is immediately infatuated with Elizabeth. Victor shows his brother the dead Harlander and blames the death on his creature, saying he's made a huge mistake. He asks them to leave and ends up burning his tower down with the creature locked inside. During the process, his leg is super fucked up and ends up getting amputated. Then we jump back to the boat at the North Pole where Victor has explained his story to the captain. The creature climbs aboard and tells his side of the story to the captain. We see the creature end up escaping the burning tower, and he goes through the forest, finds a lovely little shack where a family's living there, and he starts living in the walls and also in the barn of the family's house. The blind grandpa says that he's welcome to stay and lets him borrow some books. He ends up reading and becoming literate. The family also end up giving him some clothes and some food. One day, wolves end up killing the blind man, and the family comes home and they find the creature. They blame the death on the creature and end up shooting him down, but he regenerates. He ends up going back to the tower and realizes that he's been assembled by Victor from a whole bunch of dead men, and that he is indeed a monster. He also finds an address for Victor. He shows up on Victor's brother's wedding day, and he asks Victor to make him a mate, but Victor refuses. Victor tries to shoot and kill the creature, but ends up shooting Elizabeth instead. The creature carries her out of her own wedding, bloodied. Victor's brother informs Victor that he is indeed the monster right before he dies. Victor chases after the creature until it's just the two of them near the North Pole. Victor tries to blow the creature up with some dynamite, but fails again. Nothing seems to be able to kill the creature. This is where the captain and his men find Victor on the ice. We then jump back to the captain's quarters on the ship, and Victor apologizes to the creature. He says there's really no recourse but to live while the creature is forced to be alive. The creature says perhaps now they can both just be human. Victor passes away, and the creature pushes the ship out of the ice it's stuck in. The captain tells the men they are turning around and going back home. The movie ends with a quote from Lord Byron saying, "And thus the heart will break, yet broken, live on." Roll credits.
And get jiggy with it.
And get jiggy with it.
And that's Lord
That was,
Byron.
I think that's
Surprising
Byron,
last
yeah,
time.
as well. Yeah.
Lord Byron loved
remember
to get jiggy
reading
with it.
that.
Famously so.
Yes. Yes. There's a lot to get into with this movie, for sure.
It's a lot of story.
There is.
But it's familiar territory though, you know?
A lot of it
I'm going to
is,
start
yeah.
by saying that, again, this is Del Toro, so even like the lowest Del Toro is going to be quite high. But I think one of the things that really threw me off, and I'm still kind of struggling with, because it's definitely my own expectations, but I think one of the things I struggle with this film, and we talked a little bit about it when we covered the original Frankenstein a couple weeks ago for Halloween, is that the way this was advertised and the way it even starts, I thought, cool, this is going to be like an adaptation, the first kind of like real adaptation of the novel. We haven't really seen that on film. And because that's the way that the novel starts, is telling the story to the captain and the ship on the ice and being like, near the North Pole and stuff like that. And then it wasn't. It wasn't. It was a new version that Del Toro, I guess, has written and made his own. And I was like, damn it. Why?
Well, let me ask this, because I was wondering about that. I was assigned this book in high school, but I did not read this book in high school.
Randy.
I cliff noted this book. I skeeved it. But I know it generally. I definitely read the first like quarter of it at least. So that part I felt familiar. And I thought it was closer than, it certainly seems closer than any adaptation that I've ever seen.
It's closer, but there's still a lot of changes. A lot. And one of the things that I think really bothers me, and even when we discussed again the original Frankenstein, is and also too, because I covered Penny Dreadful, I think Penny Dreadful, even though it really is not basing itself off of Mary Shelley's novel because it's incorporating so many different characters, but what I do think that Penny Dreadful gets the best out of any adaptation is the dynamic of Victor and the monster. Where in this one of the biggest problems I have with it is he just makes Victor like the hugest piece of shit, an irredeemable type of villain, and the way that him and the monster interact, like the sin that he commits towards the monster is so much more egregious and hateful, and like he's attacking it. Whereas like in the novel, it more becomes like a tit for tat type of thing where Victor is very young and naive and he creates this monster, and through like exhaustion and panic abandons it for one night, recovers, goes back to find it, and it's gone. And the monster takes that as like rejection, even though it doesn't know any better. And so it just becomes this thing where they constantly kind of miscommunicate, where they're both acting against each other, where like in the novel, the monster actually Elizabeth is actually Victor's to-be wife. They're actually in love.
Okay.
The monster kills Elizabeth out of retribution. So then Victor now then really does hate the monster, and it goes back and forth. Where in this one, it's just like Victor is this almost mustache twirling piece of shit villain who kills Elizabeth, who treats her like shit, who like tries to burn the monster down. There is no like big tower. There is no financier. Like that's all. So a lot of like the roots of this are just created by Del Toro.
Interesting.
I think.
Yeah, I didn't remember a lot of that. Go on.
Similar to Randy, I've started this book several times. I've never finished it, but I do think like as far as I can tell, the biggest piece, Del Toro adds a lot of stuff to this, which we'll talk about, but the biggest piece I think that he brings to the table is this sort of like generational trauma piece where like we have this flashback and we see like young Victor Frankenstein and like how his father was abusive to him. And then I think that is obviously taken to a whole nother level whenever we see Victor and his monster. And like, I think there's this piece of like, I think Del Toro's life interjected into the character of Victor Frankenstein, where he's dealing with like whatever with his dad and I assume his kids. It is like kind of mustache twirly, but I think that is
something for the
obviously
dads.
Intentional. Yeah, a little something for the dads out there. And then of course all the like, there's the creature is a Christ character, and there's like all this I think lapsed Catholic kind of stuff going on here, which Del Toro has done quite a bit in a lot of his work. But yeah, I don't know. There's like some interesting like Del Toro isms. There's always like, a war going on in the background. He's got that happening here as well. There's a lot of things that he likes to play with that he's brought to the story of Frankenstein that maybe enhances it in some ways, but makes it a little more underwhelming in others. Like, yeah, it does make it very difficult to identify really in any way with Victor Frankenstein, but you identify with the creature, especially when he starts talking. But yeah, I don't know if that makes it as satisfying of a story as it could be, if these characters had a little more depth to them.
Yeah, they're just not nuanced. And that's kind of the thing is like, even the monster, he's like kind of too perfect. He's everything that he does seems very completely understandable and justified. Whereas again, in like the original story, and if you've ever seen Penny Dreadful, it kind of builds off that same dynamic where once you get to know the characters, you realize like they're both just flawed individuals who are clashing as a father and son kind of would, in knowing that they're two imperfect people who are just like expecting too much of each other, maybe in some way. And it just like builds and builds and builds. Whereas this, I did like the dynamic of Victor having the father figure that made Victor at least more understandable, like the parallels there, and like how I thought it was well done of like how obsessive he was. And he even gives this line where I never stopped to consider what would happen if I ever actually achieved life.
Yeah. What came next? And I didn't think about that.
Yeah, he's like, I reached the end of the horizon, and he's not capable of giving love and understanding like his mother was. He's too much like his father in the way that he tries to teach him. And I thought that was good. And one thing that I got a little bit disappointed too, I was like, oh, well, Elizabeth Mia Goth was the mother. And I thought we were going to get a little more time with Mia Goth and the monster, where she was going to act more as the kind of mother figure that Victor had loved so much to create even kind of more of that parallel. And one thing that was weird about this movie a little bit too is it's so long, and yet the moments where it feels like things are really supposed to matter in like the emotional realms seems to go by in a flash. Like the actual time that the monster and Elizabeth spend together is almost nothing. And so when he shows up at the wedding and she's just madly in love with him so deeply, it's like I felt like we kind of need more time to get to there. Yeah,
that I do agree with. Like I feel like that she was like that she saw humanity in it in the way that you are introduced to a neglected child or something. You know what I mean? Like that was what I got out of their relationship. And then all of a sudden it became romantic. I do think that was strange, but like, I agree. Like, I think that like I'm kind of in, like, I feel like this, based on what your description of the original novel was, which is like far from my memory at this point, and having just seen the 30s Frankenstein, I feel like this is a hybridization of those things with the core. Like you said, the core of this is about paternity. It's about being a father, and some Christianity and like creation thoughts in there for sure, but like big ideas, big expectations, crush on those expectations by something that you can't control, another person that you have helped create but you can't control. It's like the lack of control you have. I think all of that's good stuff, and I don't take issue specifically with like Elizabeth's time with the creature being brief, because part of the thesis of this is how those brief interactions at the very early stages of somebody's consciousness are so vital. It was true of Victor, and it was true of the creature. Those few moments, like the word Victor meant everything to him. It was the only word that meant anything. It was the only word that he knew. And then it became Elizabeth, mother, father. Like these are the things that meant the most to them. They were the people, and what they came to mean to him kind of trump everything else. And those things happen in brief stints. Like Victor's mom, she died. He only has this memory of her being a loving person. His father, he spent more time with, and because his father was obsessed with his name more so than his son, he suffered for that. And that is the exact affliction that is being passed on to the kids. So like Rob said, it's a generational trauma thing. I'm okay with all of that. I think that there's a bunch of ways that Frankenstein has been used, reused, and that sort of thing. And I think that that's not like the most I feel like that's a pretty straightforward way thesis to hang this Frankenstein premise on, even if it's not the complete original tale, even if it's not the weird like all about science version that the 1930s was. It's kind of between those things, both aesthetically and story wise. And the way it manages to do that is by coming together on something sort of eternal, which is the relationship of a person with their parents and specifically their father. I'm kind of down with all that. And I had a great time watching that dynamic play out. Those things that you like some of the things I can certainly nitpick, and there's some real criticism you can make towards this movie about the way it disseminates some of that information. I know that on the Slack there was some discussion about how blunt it was with the now. Oh, you're the real monster, Victor, and that sort of thing. And people like I kind of don't agree in this case, and the reason is because this is Frankenstein. If any property should be able to say that line, it should be a fucking Frankenstein retelling. I feel like it's okay to have a little bit of that bluntness when it's only blunt because it's been done and redone and redone and redone. That's like the core conceit of the whole damn show. The whole thing hinges on you become the monster that you are involved in creating. By treating somebody as a monster, you yourself become one. That very core idea is so central and so like fucking I don't know, it's everything to the idea. Frankenstein is that idea in the popular consciousness, in storytelling. When somebody says a Frankenstein story, that's the kind of shit they're talking about. So I don't really have a problem with them being upfront with that. I have more of a problem with like pretenders to the throne, the David Gordon Greens of the world, coming out here and like throwing that out. Personally,
in Halloween Ends or Kills rather, whenever they drop those lines, it's like, it's in a movie with just largely bad dialogue anyway. Like, this movie is just loaded with beautiful dialogue. And if you got a couple ham-fisted lines, like, whatever. Yeah, it really didn't bother me either, because, like, sandwiching that is, like, just beautifully written dialogue.
It's like, to me, it's like if you had a movie with if it's like having a Spider-Man movie that doesn't say the line. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you gotta have the line.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily
play on the line.
bothered with the line. What I am kind of bothered by is the kind of like the lack of nuance that I kind of mentioned before, that I feel like the characters aren't really given, especially once the momentum starts going. I feel like, they spend a lot of time kind of setting Victor up, especially we see him as a child. But even, there's a couple handful, like, I said, wow, like the romance, the deep, deep romantic feelings that Elizabeth had suddenly for the creature I was like, whoa, I feel like I just got smacked in the face with this. The ending too, I mean, it's like the dynamics between characters where they're feeling such deep things seem like they just come out of nowhere, and they're the kind of things where you're like, yeah, I see where that's where the story was going, or I understand that's where you needed to end up to, like, it's like the ending points are good, but the journey to get there, they didn't really build that to make those moments feel rewarding and justified. It just feels like I knew I needed to get there. And so it feels appropriate in a way, but then at the same time, I'm like, oh, well, that just kind of happened.
I feel like that's mostly, for me anyway, like I see that mostly in the example of Elizabeth and the monster, like more so than there's definitely some of that to go around. I feel like a lot of that's just like the drama of it all, the fucking big scale drama of it all. You could say like it's like a stage play where like people speak really fucking loud and enunciate in a certain way so that you can hear it in the back, and they express really big so that you can see their eyebrows moving from the back row. That's kind of the thing I get from some of that, but it goes too far in her case where it's like, I thematically she should have a maternal relationship with this creature, and they kind of roll that into a romantic relationship so that there's more conflict with Victor, who I also don't second and next in line to that, maybe not done well enough, is her and Victor, Elizabeth and Victor. Like, they kind of have a thing going and they do work towards it. I don't know that I fully bought into it, but they do work to it. I feel like in the monster and Elizabeth's case, just a couple more scenes of like Elizabeth like writing in a journal or something and just being like I pray that this creature is all right or whatever. It had nothing, like it was unaware. Like they had a few like back and forths with Victor and her or whatever, talking about the nature of this creature, and at no point did it feel like she was seeing him as a romantic figure. It just sort of happened later.
That scene, I like that scene, but it is interesting that we're not really ever given any evidence that she doesn't want to marry, what's his name, William Frankenstein,
yeah. Right?
And like,
it just seems like he gets fucked over.
She is shot, so like, you know, I'm sure she's out of it a little bit. But in that scene, like the creature kills William, and like she doesn't even ask about him. So that's a bit jarring. I think there's some fair criticism specifically in that scene.
I think just her treatment in general is a little mixed up for me, and it's the biggest problem I have with the movie. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, there's plenty of other things to talk about, like the sort of like Christ allegory happening. I think that really stood out to me as like Del Toro adding a lot of that information into his version of the story of Frankenstein, where like obviously Victor Frankenstein is always like trying to play God, but I think he takes it a step further with like having this like backwards, this like inverse like version of Catholicism where you've got this like this immaculate conception that happens on the cross, where like, you know, this creature's Jesus's life begins on the cross and like sort of goes backwards. Like Victor, obviously in his attempt to try and become God and create life, he's forced to create life out of all this like death and destruction, which only causes more death and destruction, and he ends up being like the devil instead of this godly person. And it's like that stuff is sort of interesting to me. I'm sure a lot of that is in the original story to some degree, but I think he puts a specific like Catholic edge to some of it, especially with a lot of his he's praying to some sort of guardian angel. I don't know who it is, if that's supposed to be a specific angel or something, but how that like mutates in his dreams throughout the movie and becomes like more satanic looking. It even like takes its face off in one of his dreams towards the end, and it's like this bloodied skull, like the sort of bastardization of religion. I don't know. I found all that to be pretty interesting for the most part in this.
I did too. Like, and I mean, I'm not 100% sure what to me, like how it all hangs together, but like, or even early, like the first time you see adult Victor is him making his appeal to whatever the council of surgeons or whoever that is, and showing off like this fucked up goddamn puppet guy.
I really like
and
that
talking
scene.
about how God is obsolete and maybe we shouldn't be held down by dogma and that sort of thing. Like being very blunt in a society that like realistically, that would get your ass fucking crucified. That would get your ass.
Well, even when they
the
show
streets.
it, they say like it's unholy. This is not,
right. Yeah, they do, but they just make us think about it. Like I feel like the way that he presented that in a non-heightened reality that of that time period, he would not have walked away from that without being burned at the stake.
I like that scene a lot. I mean, the visual, like the puppet and everything, is really cool. But I like how he, right in that moment, is already trying to position himself like above God, and in the end, like him trying to be that proves inept in and of himself. So like there's kind of a full circle moment where he has to like say, I you know, at the end, I apologize, I'm so sorry, you know.
Well, this is so paternal, this story, that like the idea that Catholicism is so much stronger in this it makes perfect sense because it's like the paternal take on Christianity upon all which all others are built. Like it's about God the Father and God the Son duking it out and not having the having an acrimonious relationship, even though they're both supposedly have righteous goals in mind and that sort of thing. So, or at least have supposedly good intentions, but like the thematic recall of whatever Tywin Lannister, whatever the fuck, Victor's dad, whipping him with that rod, and then later Victor whipping or beating the creature with a similar rod, and like all these there's a lot of that going on, and then the T pose of him like literally on a cross being like reverse crucified, as you said, Bob. Like I think that those things hang together like ultimately really, really well. I just think that we could like dig into that like individual moments and find reasons that those things resonate so well in the story that Del Toro is telling. So I don't know. I do
think that is the strongest beat because it's not even necessarily just because it's a good mixture of the trauma from like your own childhood and the way that you were taught and kind of carrying that on, but also too, it's just kind of like this like male blind ambition. Again, I mentioned it with, the whole thing is like trying to teach the lesson to the captain too, of like, you have my blind ambition of your just, putting these lives in danger just for the cause or just to do it. And
it's so interesting that he says that before he learns his lesson, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, see, some of those that's what kind of like, I know that's kind of what I was saying before, like, you got to get there, but I do like those ideas of he's just so because of his mother's death, he's so obsessed with creating life, and then he just creates the life and then it represents him. So it's not even, it's like his father gave him his name and he was like training him to not embarrass him. Victor can't get over the fact that this monster is not perfect. It's not smart enough. So it's a representation of his work. It shines poorly.
Which he needs to be good in order to defeat the ideas his father had towards him.
Exactly, yes. But and one problem again I had with this that Del Toro is kind of adapting from some of the earlier works, which is not in the original. And again, why I really wanted as close of an adaptation as possible, because I do think that Del Toro is missing some of this nuance that makes these characters richer, is that I didn't like the idea where the instrument broke or became bent. And we talked about this in the original Frankenstein, where they kind of blame it on the fact that he's got a criminal's brain. Right. And so that's just, it's doomed to be flawed. I didn't like the fact that the experiment was fucked up through a thing, because the whole thing of the original, like in the original story, Victor and the monster have no time together because he's exhausted and panicked and fucking scared. There's no time together at all. And so the whole flaw is like he's abandoned. He has no one to teach him. He has no one to guide him. And he's completely alone. Whereas this one is like Victor abuses him, but he's stupid. He can't learn anything more. Why? Because the experiment didn't go well, or because it was bent. Like there's all these excuses that kind of take the nuance out of it, that just gives an excuse. Well, he's stupid because the experiment was fucked up. And so that makes Victor enraged. And so he abuses him. And I'm like, it's just too simple
you got
for
to that
me.
Point where it's like excuse making, because I think that is in character for Victor to find reasons why it has gone awry, that he can take some, so he takes some of authority over, but he ultimately uses it as a like, well, I just mixed that part up, but it's not my fault. It's the experiment went slightly awry, and I didn't have time to fix it. but it still kind of worked. Like it's like it's excuse making, like you said. I kind of can see that as sort of picking up the slack, whereas like I do agree, like the brain being criminal or whatever. That's so directly making the case that this creature might have been different, and might have been completely different if it didn't have a quote criminal brain. Like they're very much coloring that a slightly bit like that could be chalked up to like the bent whatever radioscope, whatever that is. Could the fact that worked could be chalked up to like an accident of fate that made it work. Do you know what I mean? Like they don't really make that case. But and in fairness, if they want to make a case in this movie, they just go right out and say it. So that I don't know that they necessarily would have made that case. But I think that a viewer could. So I don't know. I guess there's an argument there if you want it. Is like I guess what I'm saying.
Yeah,
there's an argument that still about, kind of works.
This came up on the Slack too, and it's something I thought like literally from the very first scene. I was like, wait a second, what the hell? What did y'all think about the look of this?
It's a little weird
in
some situations. I ended up watching this twice. And the first viewing, I was like, yeah, it's got this very bizarre, it like overly processed, slick digital kind of look that it just like, Del Toro's known for building very elaborate, beautiful sets, and I assumed was the case for this movie, and turns out it was. I ended up watching like some behind the scenes stuff, but the way it's shot or the way it's lit, or maybe it's the way the camera moves. I know he was playing around with like frames per second. Maybe that had something to do with it. In some scenes, they're like practical sets that look like they're digital, and it's kind of bizarre.
Yeah, from the very first scene when it happened, I thought the one with the ship, specifically when the guy comes up and he's got like a and stuff around his face. But I was like, wait a second. It looked like the type of animation that's in films like the Polar Express or something. Oh, it threw me off at first. I was like, is this animated? When at first I was like, is he opening with like an animated scene? And I was like looking closely at it, and even as they moved, and I was still unsure. And then I saw later some people say it kind of looked like cutscenes from a video game, and I was like, yeah, it kind of does look like that. It was really like, it sucks because like the set that's behind me and everything, when you have these still shots, the design is amazing. Especially like the tower that he's working in. And I thought that they made it like a pretty good excuse to have such an elaborate place like this. Like, why would that even exist? And I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, it looks weird, especially for Del Toro.
I think I've been thinking about this since it came up on the Slack, because I don't know that this is just me or what, but I did, out of the three of us, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one that watched this in theaters.
Yeah.
And I didn't clock any of that. Like in the theater, I was just really taken with, it felt very like, it just felt immense and huge, and it was like amazing to watch. And I sat down and watched, I didn't watch the whole thing again, but I skimmed through right before coming online here to record. And I can see it more on the television than I can in the theaters, which is interesting. And like, a few things that brings up for me is, one, first of all, why the fuck are they putting these big scale movies in such limited theater runs? Like, it clearly benefited, at least for me, from being on the big screen. Clearly benefited. Why put so much fucking money into this?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, why sink so much money into this if you're going to then like hobble it and put it on a
$120 million budget, by the way. To my knowledge, that's insane. Del Toro's biggest budget. That's like Crimson Peak, he had 55. So like, wow, big, beautiful sets for that.
And I would say Crimson Peak is probably number 2 in the ones I would point to films that look a little janky for Del Toro.
Really? That's the one I wish it looked a little bit more like. I felt like that was the bar to reach for this kind of gothic tale.
The DNA,
not as janky, but
the DNA of this movie to me is like, it's like half Chronos, half Crimson Peak. Like if those two movies had a baby, you get Frankenstein, which is interesting to see how like he's like always been playing around with these like themes of Frankenstein and like a lot of his other movies that didn't necessarily pick up on until watching this. And this reminded me a lot of his other movies. And I was like, oh, that's it. Those themes have like kind of been in a lot of his other movies. Especially this movie reminded me so much of Kronos, which is a movie I fucking love. And
I love that movie. I didn't pick up on similarities, but you'll have to tell us more about that.
Yeah, totally. The first thing that grabbed my attention was the look of the creature. The like marbled skin is like straight from Kronos. And also the generational trauma piece is kind of there. Also, there's a bunch of like Catholicism worked into Kronos. It's also
sure.
About.
So it's not so much the look. I guess I was thinking. Look,
no, yeah, just thematically, but the look definitely the look of the creature for sure. Which I think that's an interesting choice. I overall did like how the creature looked in this, even though it did sort of harken back to Kronos for me. It being the marbled skin, and there's something. I was watching an interview with Del Toro, and he said something that like made me think of the look of like a lot of his creatures actually being marble like that. He was saying something like,
yeah, Hellboy like, 2 has some of that happening.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. He was saying something along the lines of like, art is going to outlive the artist or whatever. And in this case, obviously Frankenstein, his, art, his creation or whatever would be the creature. And it's got this marbled skin. And it makes me think of, like David, this like beautiful marble statue or something that would outlive the creator. And I don't know, like that through line I think is really interesting, and then it made me think of like Del Toro being a Frankenstein in and of himself. Like he has created so many monsters that are his art that are in these movies that are going to outlive him as well.
The pale man, or that's his name, right?
The pale man, with the eyes in his hands. Yeah.
That fella from Pan's Labyrinth.
The little fella.
That little fella, the guy.
I like the look of the creature, and I thought that was just kind of an interesting nugget that he threw out there that I latched on to. And yeah, I wish I saw this on a big ass screen though. Unfortunately, I probably would have looked a lot better.
And I did want to go back to that for a second, because like the other thing that occurred to me while like kind of thinking about like why this feels different or whatever, and like trying to identify, like you guys were a second ago, what is it that makes this feel different? And I don't know what exactly the transition between screens is. I really don't. I haven't nailed it down. But in terms of like what is keeping this from feeling more grounded, like I felt like Crimson Peak was, even though that was grandiose and gothic and all those things, it was not quite so huge in scope. Like every fucking shot in this has like a million fucking yards in the background of just of place setting, and the camera moves so much. And you identified that like maybe some of the frame rate was getting in there too.
He was.
I just feel like maybe it felt too polished at times.
I agree, totally.
Only really on the small screen did I clock this, and it really stands out in situations where like you said, the boat up against like a million miles of tundra. Or the tower up against a million miles of farmland or whatever.
I noticed
there's just so much happening and so many depths.
The wolves look
and
really
it's always
weird
panning
too.
around it.
The wolves
that feels video gamey to me. Like
the wolves and the deer, look janky and bad.
Even when
that's a modern thing, because people just do not want to, for ethical and price reasons, work with animals at all.
Yeah.
Even when they walk
going
into
CG with all of it.
Walk into the tower for the first time, the way it looks on the inside of the tower, which I believe they did build, all of that looks digital, completely digital to me.
I know that's so weird, and that's what you're saying. Oh,
nothing feels
look more like Crimson Peak. I wish it looked more like Pan's Labyrinth, where it's more small and cozy, and there's texture and things. It's almost like there's no texture in anything.
Yeah,
it does
agree
look
with that.
too clean and
or
sleek.
The texture
doesn't look real.
Applied.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like
maybe they're using a filter or something in post. I don't know.
I just think that it's like I think that it's a byproduct of like a number of different things. That's just like the mode that this movie and that a lot of streaming films use, and maybe it's a way of like, I don't know, but I think about like, I compare this to just this time last year Nosferatu came out, And those scenes,
Thinking the
that was
same
also a
thing.
beautiful movie that has like a different color palette and like a different sort of aesthetic and things like that. But the thing that really like, it feels like real rooms that people stand in. And as much as I love some of the sets in this movie and they're like mind-blowingly beautiful and interesting and design and stuff, they needed some smaller rooms. They needed some rooms and some areas, some scenes that didn't feel intimate just in terms of what's being discussed, but in terms of the space that they're in. Every single, even like as far back as Victor's palatial family estate that he grows up on has like the most grandiose situation. His mom dies in a fucking ballroom, basically playing cards at a fucking card table in a room that could fit a billion card tables. You know what I mean? Nothing feels cozy in any way. And you can argue that there's a reason for that thematically, but it makes it harder to connect, I think.
It sucks too, because I was thinking about Nosferatu, but I was also thinking a lot about, because we covered it, Nightmare Alley, which was so beautiful. God, I remember how beautiful that movie looked. And like specific scenes, it's just like how amazing that looked. And there was not one moment in here that I had like that where I was just mesmerized by how good it looked. And it sucks because I was mesmerized. I really do like the way he incorporated like the electricity and the machinery and the things that they built and this tower and a justification for the tower and the design of it and stuff. But yeah, like Bob said, when they walk in, it doesn't look like a real place that they built. That's such a shame.
Yeah.
That sucks. It should look better than this.
They built the entire lab, obviously. They built the entire ship and they put it on a gimbal so that whenever the creature pushed it, it really was moving.
Oh my God.
That was not digital.
It looks like a video game.
It kind of does, yeah, which is a bummer. All of that is real. Like they built that fucking
dude. That's.
I feel like it's how the camera moves. The more I'm thinking about it, I think it's how the camera moves around.
It's
things.
on a crane throughout almost the entire movie, I think. So and it never stops. It like never slows down, which is kind of distracting.
That's what I was gonna say. And I feel like there's not even a like I know that like a moving camera is a dynamic camera and all these like these principles that you try and learn, but there is such thing as too much. Maybe
it stays wide and it's always moving, which does maybe lend to like a video game vibe.
If you don't show contrast against those things, then it just becomes noise that continues throughout. It's the same as like if you speak at the same volume for the entirety of your speech, that doesn't work as well as speaking the quiet parts quiet for emphasis and the loud parts loud for emphasis. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like there's I know we could go on forever. I want to touch on maybe a couple other things real quick. The costumes are fucking beautiful in this, as they always are. So Del Toro always works with the same lady, Karen, I forget her last name, does like amazing costume designs. Something I noticed on my second watch was Elizabeth's wedding dress. Her arms had these like little wraps all the way down them, which like reminded me a lot of the creature's wraps in the beginning of the movie, which I thought was a really nice touch. Each character is assigned like a specific color, which is kind of cool.
I thought maybe that was maybe I'm misremembering, but I thought that was maybe a reference to The Bride of Frankenstein.
Probably that too, actually. That would make a lot of sense. Yeah. Victor's red ass gloves, like he's just constantly got blood on his hands. I thought that was an interesting choice as well. Yeah, Elizabeth wears
talking about costume designs, Victor's mom's red thing when she's walking through that ballroom. That thing was fucking cool as shit. Huge. Yeah. And another, like, talking about cool set designs that actually look good though, and kind of costume. The coffins, when his mom and his dad, when they put like they're in the coffins and they put the kind of faces, I was like, damn, that looks fucking cool as shit.
I loved that. And also like it really felt like thematically. So like you could do this a million ways, I know, but like just like setting their image in stone, like just thinking about that thematically is like, this is how this person will be remembered. The story he just told is that person now, at least for him. And it's what informs everything about him.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they live on forever. Again, like that ivory marble statue, whatever, like that's how they live on forever, which again looks like the creature. Did you guys catch Harlander's cane? The head of his cane is made of marble. Did you guys see that?
Was it a wolf or something? I couldn't.
No.
I thought it was a
was.
wolf, and it was making me think of
The Wolfman. Yeah. I'm sure that's a callback to the Wolfman, but it's not a wolf. It's actually it's a naked woman, which it does a close up shot on it, and it very much looks like the little model that young Victor is playing with when his dad is quizzing him.
Okay.
I thought that was kind of a nice connection. Them both basically trying to outsmart or pay their way out of death, get out of death any way they can with their own means, and then of course,
Or also too to circumvent, because the one thing that's interesting is the one that Victor's playing with when he's young is a pregnant woman, and the idea, the whole idea, we have the paternal thing, but a lot of it too is these kind of like male perspectives of like eliminating women from the equation.
Yeah.
Right.
Frankenstein is so frequently read as a gay text.
Yeah, I'm gonna create a man, and and then also too, I'm gonna raise him the way my father raised me, which is the one who I say I hate. I loved my mother. It has no mother, and those kind of things. Yeah.
There's a lot to chew on, like just thematically on that, and they I don't know, like a lot of those little things I hadn't really put that much emphasis on, but there is so much marble in this. Now that you say that, like there's just so many marble statues, and it's like the wealthy man's ideas, which is also discussed by Elizabeth in their first dinner together.
I love that
your
scene,
ideas. It's
cool
such a great scene. That is the most intimate feeling scene, perhaps, of the movie.
I agree, and the best Elizabeth moment, I feel like you said
that
earlier,
or the confession booth. Those two.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry, Bob. Go ahead.
In that scene where they're at the dinner table and Elizabeth is like dropping mad knowledge about having fanciful ideas don't mean anything, especially when the people who have those ideas are so far away from the action where people are getting murdered. You're talking about the backdrop of war, which is in like every Del Toro movie. But in that scene when they're having this amazing conversation, I noticed, like, if you look at the table, or if you look at, he's either got ice cream or like a gelatin mold or something in his bowl. If you look at the table and the stuff on it, there's no texture whatsoever. It's like completely slick, and it doesn't look real. And that was just one of those things where it's a smaller, intimate moment. And even in that scene, I was like, I know this is a real room. They made it, but it just doesn't really look real for some reason.
Well, maybe there's something about that. Like if we're talking about marble, we're talking about talking about the cleanliness. They're living above the fray of what Mia Goth's character is talking about. And then also like there's that whole thing. Harlander is doing photography, which is definitely a rich man's game at this time. In that photography, he's doing memento mori. He's doing which, I mean, I learned about in art history class. One of the few things I actually retained from art history class is the idea that like they would create these beautiful, lush scapes. Like this, not just in photography, but in painting as well. Certainly in painting as well, where you have like lush, like greenery and grapes and delicious foods and gilded things, beautiful things, and then like there'll be a fly on the peach to remind you that it's rotting as they're painting this, like the reminder of death, that this is fleeting, and both men are actively, weirdly, like this is weirdly dissonant. He's doing this memento mori style photography, but they're actively trying to circumvent that entire thing. It's like they're obsessed with removing the flaw from humanity.
Yeah, the model, eats the forbidden fruit and he gets mad at her for it. Also, in that scene when he's talking to Victor when he walks in, he's like, "Yeah, photography, it's such a young science." Like he likes the youth of it, I guess, which is interesting. They're dynamic.
He's also a cad. Like low key, he's a bit of a cad. He has syphilis, and I love the line like, "A night with Venus and a lifetime of Mercury." Isn't that the same?
Like, one night with Venus and get you a lifetime with Mercury.
Yeah.
That's a hilariously fucked up line, and I hope that's a real thing that people like the upper crust would say in the day, because it feels too on the nose.
But I like that too. That even that dynamic where he's again, when we're talking about their kind of obsession and trying to infuse themselves in it, but they themselves as purists deny each other. So he's like, "No, you're tainted. I can't do it." Like he's saying,
I can't put your mind into this.
Yeah, like, save me, Victor, do it for me. And he's like, well, no, I can't. You're tainted, or just like the imperfections, even though they're trying to infuse themselves, which is the same thing he was doing. He was like, hey, don't eat the peach, bitch, because it makes it look imperfect. And then he's like, Victor, put me put into a monster. And he's like, no, your brain is fucked up, bitch. I can't do it. You're fucked up, bitch.
That's exactly the line.
Yeah,
that's
writing this.
Yeah. I know.
Hell yeah.
Oh man, there's some good shit going on in this, and like you said earlier in this, there are things that are reasonable to critique, and that you could definitely argue could be better. And it's certainly fair if that based on your assessment that this is not quite the source material. I think that's fair to be a little bit put off by that, because I thought this was certainly closer to what I remembered the source material to be. So I was like, man, I think this is a little deviated, but it seems right on from what I recall. And no, it's quite different.
It's very. So, I mean, really, just the only thing that is the same is the captain aspect. Victor is a completely different style character. Elizabeth is a completely different style character. The creature is a completely different style character. So I think setting it up in that way is the biggest disappointment. I think it's like, ooh, this is what I'm getting, and then like, oh wait, no, this is. It definitely took me some adjustment period to be like, okay, I'm not getting it. I had to like accept it.
And then, like you mentioned, like all the talk about like the marble statues and like the way that the creature has this skin that like it's just very stylishly like mended, and it's very clean in a way.
Something I learned on the behind the scenes stuff is the guy that designed the look of the creature, like the stitches are in places where they would basically be access points, like near joints, or like if it's down its leg, it's because he had to like, mend a muscle or something. And there's actually like a port right over where the heart would go, which is, so I like that attention to detail. There was like, I know some people were complaining on our Slack about how the creature looks like too hot, like they should have uglied him up a little more, but he is trying to make the perfect man, so I
kind of see it both ways, because I also had that feeling. I remember the one thing I remember vividly, like one of the few things I remember vividly from reading the original text, is what little I did, was that the creature had yellowing and blackened skin. And that's not what we got. I thought he looked cool. But like the grotesque aspect is perhaps toned down so that it can make those correlations that you were talking about, Bob, with the to statuaries and things like that. Yeah. Creation of Adam, literally.
Art living forever.
That sort of thing. Yeah. Right. I kind of understand. I understand the artistic intent of that better, and I was slightly put off that was the case at first, but like seeing where the creature ends up, and like how he has like the full like mane of black hair that's like growing differently on different parts of his scalp, depending on where the seams are, and the eyes being like different, the glowing eye or whatever. I thought that was all really cool. So
and that's like pretty close to how the book really describes the hair and the eyes.
I thought that was close enough to where it made up for some of the other stuff. And if there's a good artistic reason for that initial look, then I can get behind it, because it looks cool on its own merits, in my opinion.
I don't have a problem with that. And the way the way I think it's a little bit of a jump. Again, I feel like sometimes things in this script like just jump really quickly, like how much time he spends with the old man, and like he spends all this time with Victor and he can only say one word, and then he spends a winter with the old man and he can read Paradise Lost.
Well, I do think it's interesting that he can only start to learn and develop when he finds somebody who just immediately accepts him as being human and not being a thing and it.
Yeah.
We're just normal men.
So, and I also... he is reading some pretty deep shit pretty quickly, but I think
cat in the hat, no?
I think that's more about like Del Toro having to get in the Ozymandias and the Paradise Lost references for like context more than it is like informing the creature, or maybe a little bit of both, I guess. That was another scene where, speaking how like everything is large, whenever Victor, it's got this great moment where he's been outside forever and then he finally is welcomed into the home and he walks into their cabin and it looks fucking huge inside. I was like, that's not what I was expecting necessarily.
It was still, even that the space, which should be a very fucking intimate little hovel of a space.
Doesn't
but
feel.
I don't know. Doesn't quite. I mean, it like the way. I don't know. Yeah, every space feels like it grows when somebody is actually in it.
Yeah. Did you guys?
Yeah, because he's such a big creature, he never feels like he's hunched over or he's towering. Everything just enlarges to just kind of swallow him up. It doesn't
fit him and those cranes with cameras on them. I think it's probably
when he's climbing up on the fucking rafters reading the books or whatever. I was like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, this feels. It felt. I don't know. It just didn't feel like he was as big as he should be, because like you just said,
everything
felt
was so big. Yeah, the roof. He even goes into Elizabeth's bedroom or whatever, and it's like 3 fucking stories tall. So it's like it doesn't matter.
Which makes sense for like opulence.
It does.
That's not the case for like the family.
And, the hut. Yeah,
that's probably the place where it makes the most sense for it to be him to be an imposing figure, but treated the same because the common man is more in tune with actual humanity, which is the whole thing that Mia Goth is soliloquizing about. Soliloquizing? Let's just go with it.
The old man, when he's talking about Paradise Lost, and he's saying like, man has questions, even God has questions. I think that's why he sent us his son. Like, that's a good reason to bring that particular book up. I think, Victor Frankenstein himself trying to be God, having all these questions and not really being inept, him claiming God is inept and he himself being inept. At the end of the story here is all really good. I really like the first conversation that Victor has with his creature. Once, like, he comes back to the wedding and the creature asks him for a mate, and he says like, and then what? Should I make you a mate? And then what? Procreation, reproduction, and then he gets this like really gnarly like look on his face, and he goes, a home? Like, he's just so
he's such a piece of shit. I don't like that.
Oh man, he says a race of devils propagated upon earth, obscenity perpetuating itself, which I feel like, should there be a God, perhaps feels that way about us.
That's the thing is, okay, so in the novel, he feels that he's a monster because he kills Elizabeth. So he kills Elizabeth, and at one time he frames like his longtime housemate or whatever, Justine, is executed too. So he is being devilish. There's no reason for Victor to despise him. Like, he can be disappointed, but for him to be like, whoa, what, you want a home, you piece of shit? There's no reason for him to be so evil in that way.
That scene, it doesn't bother, that particular thing doesn't bother me quite as much, but what does kind of bother me now upon reflection is like when the creature appears to him and can have full-on conversations, which is what he's always wanted. He
like
doesn't
6
seem
months
to care
later
at all. Like,
he's not surprised, and it doesn't. And that's the whole thing. The whole thing, he was like, now they do add this little spark, but the whole thing is he's disappointed because he thinks he's failed, and it's a bad reflection on him. Now they do add the thing of the jealousy of like Elizabeth and something, but Elizabeth's literally getting married, and he literally just said,
yeah,
I wish the best for you and William and everything like that, whatever. So for the monster to come back 6 months later and to have a full conversation, and Victor to be like, you want a fucking home, you bitch? It's like, why does he hate him so much? There's no reason. Two
things. One, I think the reason is there. It's that he sees him as a personal failing. Like, you don't treat
disappointed
your brother the same way you treat your disappointing son. Like, that's maybe the way that it's.
But the disappointment should be gone if he shows up and it's like, I can read Paradise Lost in 6 months. Oh, okay,
I'm getting there. But what I was going to say is, like, that scene, to your point, and I do agree, does undercut a moment, just a single moment that really does do, I think, what you're describing, which is when he is trying to burn the creature alive in that scene where he loses his leg and all that stuff. He's doing all this. He's like, you can't even say more than one word. And he hears him say Elizabeth, and he pauses, and he's like, it's clear that he's like, holy shit, he can say something. And then he's like, no, I'm still doing this. He lights it on fire.
Yeah.
He walks out the door, and then he tries to go back in. He realizes his error, and he goes back in. That is then undercut by him later. If the creature had then gone on and done some evil shit, or if like, you could argue maybe that the family or the old man that got killed, maybe word got back to Victor. We don't see that though. We don't have any.
Or
reason
he
to
killed
think that Victor
William.
has any information. Or
if he kills William,
or something.
if he shows up and William tries to, like, oh my God, it's a monster, and he fights him and he accidentally kills William, and then he hates him. Yes,
totally. Yeah, I think that there's like a dissonance there. I think that it's almost there, but it's not there. Like, yeah. So I agree with you on that.
Yeah, there's
But
some
it's like
interesting.
I feel like they lay some groundwork and they rip some out at the same.
They also.
That's a good point about Victor trying to go back in, because that's how he like loses his leg, and it would make a little bit more justification of the ending where he's like, oh, I forgive you. It's like if there's this constant kind of misunderstanding, which is how the book does. It's like they keep kind of missing each other, and in ways keep hurting each other and one-upping it in that misunderstanding. And then by the end of it, when they're able to hear each other's stories, that's where the forgiveness, the understanding of your perception of, I saw it a different way or whatever. And they just forgive him in the end.
And there's a little bit of fumbling going on. Bob, you were going to say something, and we've been talking.
There's whenever Victor first starts to tell the captain his story, he says something similar to like, everything I'm going to say, or some of what I'm going to say is true, some of it's false, but all of it is real, or something like that.
All
some
of
of
it
it's
is
real, some of it's
true.
fake, all of it is
It's not
true.
all facts, but it's all true, or something.
So
Weird
like
that.
maybe you can take some of it with a grain of salt. I don't know if that really improves the story necessarily, but
I'm not sure what that line means, though.
the essence, the take away the point more than the
essence.
facts.
It's all true.
That
It's
feels
not all
like it's
fact.
supposed to mean something deeper. It's literally the definition of pretension, I think, or it's supposed to mean something deeper, but it actually kind of just doesn't.
Doesn't make.
It's supposed to
any
be a clever
sense.
twist of phrase. I don't know that. I mean, unless I'm missing something, which is very possible. I don't really see how that factors in, or what that's trying to convey. Really.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure either, but I figured I'd mention it.
No, that's totally fair.
In any other major point, I feel like we could keep going and going, but any other major points before we kind of land the plane on this one?
No, I think we gotta land the plane.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and do it. Let's rate this thing out of 5. Rand Diesel, why don't you kick us off? How do you feel about GDT's Frankenstein?
I think like there's some fair criticisms that have come up here that like some of which I kind of circled on but didn't land on, some of which don't really bother me, but I could understand how it would bother other people. And some of them just genuinely, I think, hurt the movie a little bit. But like overall, like Justin said early on in this discussion, like this is a Guillermo del Toro joint, and it feels like that. It's operating on a pretty high measure to begin with. I'm comparing it to other movies I've seen in theaters this year, and I would say that it succeeds and surpasses most of those movies in so many ways. That some of these critiques can be overcome, but not all, because they are story critiques, and those are the hardest ones to get over especially with a movie that is entirely centered around a property that is about the story. It is a literary attempt. You know what I mean? It's it's trying to live up to one of the great pieces of literature of the 20th century. So it's got a lot to fucking live up to in the story department, and the failing there is really hard to ignore. So I think that ultimately I keep going back and forth in my head. I'm going to put it at a 4.25. because I can't decide between a 4 and a 4.5. I think that visually, this works really this is a really beautiful movie. I think there are some things that show worse on screen, on a non-film, non-theater screen. The grandiosity of the actual silver screen works way fucking better. And I was just in love with it there. I think seeing it on television did ding it for me a little bit, as I mentioned. I think that a lot of the things that you could point to as criticisms are also like just directorial choices, which I think can and are justified. Like, for example, the design of the creature as a piece of art. Like we said, a lot of the discussions in this are a little bit blunt and on the nose, but this is like the idea that you can't say, oh, but then I became a monster or whatever in a movie about a Frankenstein movie, specifically trying to capture the original intent, or at least in a lot of ways, some of the original intent of the Frankenstein story, I think is justifiable in a way that it isn't for other derivative works. Yeah, I don't know. I think audio wise, it sounds great. The performances are across the board pretty fucking killer. Yeah, I don't know. I think that there was a fuck ton of love put into this, and wherever else I might see a hangnail or something, I can just overlook it because I love the fuck out of Guillermo. So, you know what? 4.25. Room to grow, room to collapse. We'll see what it feels like in a year.
All right, 4.25 from Randu. Juice, how do you feel?
Yeah, I'm conflicted, but I'm going to give a little and take a little too, because I didn't rewatch the whole thing, but I watched a piece of it too. And one of the things was like, yeah, I mean, part of it was the fact that I came in expecting this to be the store that I know, or more like the store that I know. And part of my first watching experience was adjusting to that, and then having to like expecting it and kind of waiting for it for a point until like the creature becomes like 1 hour. And I was like, okay, I don't think this is going to ever get to where I thought it was going to be. So at that point, the movie's half over. So I kind of had to readjust myself. So I am taking that into consideration. But what I do, so I am disappointed in the aspect that I feel like the character should have been a little bit more nuanced. I didn't like how villainous they made Victor for no reason. Sometimes like there's no reason for him to just hate the monster when it comes back, especially if you try to save him. But I do like the elements that he added, which is that he just mirrored his father's relationship. And despite the fact that he said he loved his mother, and that's where all of his affection and stuff goes in his memory, he acts like his father who raised him and who taught him. And I thought that was really strong. I thought those parallels were like really strong, because then and I almost wanted it to go on a little bit further. I wanted the dude who had syphilis to almost kind of act like a little bit of a father figure to Victor, in the same kind of way that the old man kind of serves as a father figure to the creature and stuff like that. But yeah, I didn't have a problem with the creature design. I thought the creature aspect was some of the best to me, like spending time with the creature and stuff. I wish we got a little bit more Mia Goth and her character fleshed out a little bit more. I just want a little bit more nuance instead of some of the science that they go into and stuff like that. I kind of wish we had a little bit more character moments. The look did bother me. And it's even more frustrating knowing that these were real places, because it feels like such a waste, because the design is amazing. There's not one design piece that I was disappointed in. It looks fantastic in its design. It's just the look of it is so weird.
I want to walk in the set so bad.
Yeah.
So bad.
I'm gonna, like I said, give it a little, take a little back and forth for myself, but I'm gonna I'll land it a 4, and I think it does have room. It's hard because I'm comparing this to Nosferatu, and I'm comparing this to Nightmare Alley in aspects. So, but I think
not a mustache in this.
Yeah, I think there's 4 is fine. 4 is good. Room to grow, maybe a little room to fall potentially, but 4 is, I feel comfortable with that. Bob,
well, hold on a second.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the Yabos?
Were there Yabos in this movie?
Oh, yeah,
yes.
you could barely see them, but there was
some sheer 90s.
Yeah, some see-through clothing. I don't know if that really
I don't
counts.
even remember that, to be honest with you. Who was wearing a see-through 90? Mia Goth?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, in the scene where she's like meeting the creature at night with the candelabra and all that.
Also, the woman who bites the peach. She had
yes, there is some
Did
boobies.
she ever
in there,
Yabos out too?
Oh.
Honestly, I don't even remember the Yabos.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
man.
Man with a code
professional.
indeed.
Someone's a poser.
I guess so, man. Usually the Yabos don't pass me by, but this time I legit don't remember them being a factor.
Focused on that
Oh
Victor
my
in the
God.
bathtub, I see.
You're supposed to act in a civilized way.
Bob, out of 5, where are you going to rate this?
Yeah, I'm generally on the same page as you guys. I really enjoy a lot of this. I was mostly bummed about the visual aspect because Del Toro's movies are always just so gorgeous. And when this movie started, I was like, what's going on? Like, it very well could be like maybe Netflix has some sort of like, buffering issue, or I don't know. But it looks how it looks. Maybe once I get that beautiful 4K from Criterion, I'll watch it again and see if it has more information or something. I think there's generally great performances, though. The set design is really wonderful. We didn't talk about the score. I thought the score was really great. The costuming, obviously incredible. The stuff that Del Toro adds to this, I think, is interesting. The generational trauma and also the sort of like inverse Catholicism stuff. I think all of that's really interesting and works well. Definitely some jumps in logic, perhaps, whenever we transition from Victor's side of the story to the creature side of the story. And maybe that's intentional because we are being told this story by two different people, kind of in two different sections.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point. I wonder if that accounts for some of the vitriol that Victor has.
Some of the
towards
disconnect. Yeah, consider your source, perhaps, which maybe watching it another time with that in mind might clarify some of that. I like how they tell the story in that way, though. We get kind of the first half from Victor, and then the creature steps in and says, well, here's the rest of it, which brings us up to date. I really love the ship. Like, the ship is beautiful. And watching, one cool thing that Netflix did do is there's like a 45-minute behind-the-scenes making of on Netflix that you can watch right now, and they show a lot of the ship, like, just with a regular camera, I guess. And it looks like more impressive on that than it does in the movie, which is kind of sad, but like seeing it, it's like huge and like gorgeous and impressive. And I love that. I love the design of the tower. There's just a lot of great stuff going on. The addition of the character of Heartlander, I think he's an interesting character. Sort of adds another layer of depth to this. I think a lot, even though we don't get a ton of Mia Goth in this, I think a lot of her dialogue is great. Overall, I would say like 99% of the dialogue in this movie is really beautifully written. There's a lot of good stuff here, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe we just need some more time to digest and let this thing grow. Or maybe it won't. Maybe it just is what it is. When I think of it, there's like different scales I kind of think about this movie on. So like, how is it as a Del Toro movie? How is it as a Frankenstein movie? And how is it as just like a movie, just any old movie? And I feel like this is like not my favorite Del Toro movie, maybe somewhere in the middle of the pack. This is probably towards the top of like Frankenstein movies, at least the ones that I've seen, which is definitely not all of them. And as far as like up your baseline movie, this is well above average, I would say, especially stuff that you're going to find on Netflix. So like, I'm going to come in with just a 4 flat. And see how this grows with time. That's going to put our aggregate at a 4.1 for GDT's Frankenstein.
All right. Let's
jump over to the Rotten Tomatoes segment and see what the critics and users have to say.
Certified fresh. Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Rotten Tomatoes segment in which I'm going to have these gentlemen guess, within the best of their personal abilities, what the aggregate positive score is on RottenTomatoes.com for Frankenstein 2025. We're going to start, as we always do, with the tomatometer or the critic score, and then move on to the poopometer or the user score. There are 305 critic reviews here. 305 critical reviews to account for. I'm going to start with Bob tonight on the critics. Bob, out of those 305 reviews from critics, what percentage would you wager are positive?
I feel like Del Toro being a known entity and for having such an artistic vision, an auteur's vision, you might even say. I feel like his movies... his movies are made for critics.
It's a French vision.
Oh, tall.
Guillermo del Toro.
So I think it's going to be pretty high. I'll go with give me The Boys 86 project, please.
Them Project Boys are at it again. All right, Soju, you got 86 on the board. What are you going? Over, under? 305?
I'm going
reviews,
over.
remember?
I think this is going high, but I'll give us a chance to tie, so I'll get the 88.
Okay, 88. Let's see. Well, I got to tell you, we got ourselves a little ringy-dingy here.
Oh.
It happened, boys! It happened! The boys came to town!
I love
Bob,
that
you
that's
walked away
your
with
favorite project song.
That's the only one whose name I can remember.
I love it.
Hell yeah.
That's the one that I could remember.
It's such an
Congratulations to the
obscure one,
boys,
too.
including
That's so
you,
funny.
Bob. You walked away with a ringy-dingy.
Whoa, Bob.
It's because this movie's so damn Catholic. They got the ringy
Oh, my God. There you go.
If we get cut out of YouTube, that'll be why.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. And we're sued.
I don't think YouTube cares about Project 86.
I mean, who knows? Who can say? So yeah, congrats to Bob on a ringy-dingy there. Let's move over to the user score. There are 1,000 plus verified user ratings counted amongst these. Going in reverse order, Soju. I'm sorry. Yeah, you went second, right? Okay, yeah. So sorry.
Yeah, you got it.
Blanked out there. All right, Soju, what percentage of those 1,000 plus reviews would you say are positive?
I think this might be lower than the critics. I think it could be. It's long. And yeah, there's some janky stuff going on. So but I still think it's going to be positive. So I'll say 80.
80, okay. Bob, how about you?
I think that's a good instinct, lower than the critics. This movie's long, and a lot of people find that it might look kind of strange. So, I'll take the over and go with an 82. Maybe we can tie.
82. Wouldn't it be just heartbreaking if it was the boys again and nobody guessed it?
That would be.
It's not. Let's see. Quick brain. Go. Okay, there's a 13 percentage point difference here between the correct answer and the best guess. This is actually a 95% on the poopometer. 95 certified. Popcorn's hot. I don't know. It's certified fresh and popcorn hot. Whatever the fuck this says.
Popcorn's hot.
Popcorn hot, baby.
There's an icon here. It says hot. I can't read the first part.
They got the spicy popcorn.
They got the spicy popcorn.
The Italian
So, Bob,
hot popcorn.
Bob's walking with this whole week.
Oh, it's a hellskeet sweep.
Oh my God.
Congratulations. I just gotta say, this. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Randy's Project 86 dance.
Damn, dude.
That's the dance. That's the dance that the boys taught me.
My God.
Congratulations.
That's so funny.
It's your seduction playlist, right? You throw that out on the weekends. You're like, hey, you know what time it is?
Ladies.
It's a necktie ribbity time.
Time for our favorite sexual position, 86.
Butt to back of head, baby. That's the way God intended it. Critics' consensus reads as follows. Finding the humanity in one of cinema's most iconic monsters, Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein is a lavish epic that gets its most invigorating volts from Jacob Elordi's standout performance. And yes, we did not specifically call him out, but Jacob Elordi played the creature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one weird thing is I didn't remember that was him, and when they first kept showing his face, and I wasn't available to check my phone, it was charging, it was away from me, and I kept looking. I was like, "Is that Nicholas Hoult?" I kept seeing Nicholas Holt's face in it, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I didn't remember Nicholas Hoult was in this movie."
He was a foot taller. Yeah, they kind of have a similar facial structure.
They could have done a whole fucking Universal Monsters thing where they just have Bella and Karloff back and forth, all the same actors just doing different shit, but they didn't do that. It's Jacob Elordi, who I am not terribly familiar with myself, but he did a great job here. And the audience says section. We have an audience says section on this one. With his legendary visual touch, Guillermo del Toro resurrects Frankenstein as a modern Prometheus that's gloriously gothic and heartbreaking. There you go. All right. I know we're trying to zoom along here. One negative review. Here it is. There's really no surprise or depth to the film. Full review in Spanish.
No depth. Even
No
I
surprise.
Think there's depth.
I think there's definitely. I think there's surprise. I think because it. I don't know. I think it. There's not a ton of surprise. Look at that. Like I think probably.
Yeah.
If nothing else, it would surprise you that it's so different from whichever source material you're thinking it's pulling from. But yeah, I don't know. That's what this fellow said, but in Spanish.
Cool.
There you go. Bob, trivia. What do you think?
Yeah, there's a little bit. Let's do it.
It's totally time for trivia.
All right, speaking of Jacob Elordi, he ended up replacing your boy Garfield. What's
Oh, Andrew?
Andrew Garfield, yeah.
Really?
Bill Murray?
Just the cat, the orange cat. For the role of the creature, there was Andrew Garfield had some scheduling conflicts that popped up, and it apparently they had spent 9 months designing the look for Andrew Garfield, but they had to scrap all that shit, which left them about 9 weeks to get it all together for Jacob Elordi before they had to start shooting.
I bet he was disappointed in that.
Probably.
Andrew.
You gotta be.
I would be.
As an actor, to get a chance to be the fucking creature and Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, come on.
What a dream, right? For any actor.
Mia got 2 fucking roles again, so.
Damn, I bet he was filming that damn Marvel again.
Me.
Filming that damn Marvel.
Me, a goth. For his role as the monster, Jacob Elordi studied Japanese Buto dance, which is a form that involves undignified poses and dark themes, and Mongolian throat singing to capture the monster's mannerisms. His voice was very booming. I don't know if I'm sure they had to do some effects to it, but it
sounded processed in some ways.
Yeah. It was loud and booming.
I'm not familiar with Buto dance, but I just searched for it, and Jesus Christ, it's terrifying to look at.
Yeah.
Oof.
Cool. Check it out.
Artist Bernie Wrightson, who drew the illustrations of the 1983 Frankenstein graphic novel on which the monster design is based, was a close friend of the film's director Del Toro, and he licensed Wrightson's illustrations of the monster before the film's pre-production, which there are a lot of similarities between Bernie Wrightson's drawings. I don't know if you guys have seen any of that. Actually, shouts outs to Cesar. He showed me that. He's got that graphic novel and showed it to me. He got it autographed by Bernie Wrightson back in the day. It is gorgeous.
Really?
Yeah, his drawings are like mind-blowingly detailed.
Oh, wow. Yeah. These are beautiful.
Dude, this
Googling as
Buto
we're talking.
dance looks so fucking wild.
Fucking wild, man. Mia, a
That's
goth.
First.
She plays 2 roles in Frankenstein's mother, as well as named Claire, as well as his love interest Elizabeth.
Whoa!
To create a thematic
mother
connection.
lover.
I know. To create a thematic connection between mother and lover, which Del Toro felt was crucial to the story. Mia Goth and Del Toro discovered this idea during an early conversation about her experience with new motherhood, and it allowed Del Toro to explore the Oedipal themes in Victor's lifelong yearning for his mother through a single actress. Something I noticed in this movie is like Victor is always drinking milk. Like he never got that hearing from his mother, and like he's supplementing it.
They
with
even
just
like
milk.
bring him milk. The guy
do.
like
Goddamn Homelander ass motherfucker.
Yeah, seriously. Like
why do they? That's always the thing though. Whenever you want to make somebody a creeper, you have them drink milk.
Mothers.
I mean,
in a lot of media, they have weirdos drinking milk.
I can think
consistently.
of 2.
I feel like that's a pretty common.
I don't know. I just think it's an unusual thing for an adult to just want to drink. I guess.
Just
I don't want to just drink. I mean, I like milk, but I don't want to just drink
or whatever.
milk.
That's like I don't like milk on it, so I need fucking cookies or some shit to.
I'm not just drinking milk. I mean,
who's just drinking milk?
Psychos.
I don't know.
What in the fuck?
Fucked up, bro.
Babies and
Fucked
gods.
up.
That's who's drinking milk, dog. Harlander is an entirely original character for the film. His closest equivalent in the novel is Dr. Waldman, Victor's mentor, whose work inspires Victor to attempt to create a monster, which we've seen. Waldman, we recently talked about that character in the original 1931 Frankenstein movie. You know, thank the gods that Del Toro had the gall to not change Victor's name to Henry, because a V name would be just too much.
And then give his brother fucking
the name of Victor.
Or his,
Nowadays, it would have changed it like Harrison or some shit. Some fucking modern Gen Z ass fucking name.
You dumb little shits and your fucking stupid names.
Why don't you get
have cool names like Jason or?
Why don't you go slap your parents for giving you such shitty names, Harrison?
Look, all I'm saying is if you got more than one Y in your name, you got fucked by the naming fairy.
When first introduced to Victor Frankenstein, Harlander calls him Prometheus in reference to the titan of Greek mythology that gave man fire from the gods. The alternate title of the original novel by Mary Shelley is, of course, the modern Prometheus.
I'm going to replace both my vowels with Y's in my name now.
Jai-Stein? That's my dog, Jai-Stein?
Or is it Sai-Jai? I don't know.
Either way, it's badass.
A lot more tricky. Oh, it is so badass. I'm from Kashyyyk, after all.
I'm Jai Stein, bish.
My boy, Jai.
You can call me
Jai Stein.
I'm Soju the man, but you can call me Jai Stein.
Harlander also tells Frankenstein that he will be, quote, the eagle that eats out your liver. This is a reference to the myth of Prometheus, the titan who gave us the secret of fire to humans. Prometheus was punished.
You had me at eats out.
Prometheus was punished by having eagles eat out his liver, which would grow back each day. The subtitle of I already read that. Last thing I got here: while living with the blind man, the creature reads Ozymandias by Percy Bysshe Shelley, husband of Frankenstein author Mary Shelley. Bysshe? That middle name got me. I don't know.
Percy
sounds like some Gen Z bullshit.
It has
God,
a Y.
How many Y's are in that
S's.
shit? It does have a Y. Oh my god. Fucking Gen Z.
This is my dog,
Jesus
Jai Stein.
Christ.
He's really tall.
Jesus Christ.
You can call me Jai Stein.
This is my millennial boy, Jai Stein. It's a very
also
normal
known as
name.
Sai-Jai.
Also known as Soju the man.
That is
Sai-Jai
all
the
the trivia. Thanks
Jai
for
Stein.
hanging in there. Let's talk our Cooter of the week.
Straight chillin'. Cooter of the week.
Jai Stein, what is a Cooter and why do we hunt them?
It's a new nickname, Jai Stein. Oh, Cooter's character type. And a straight chillin'.
Exclude.
Exclice.
It's a Heinstein exclice.
Fucking nonsense.
Just replacing all vowels with Y's.
This is my dog, Sai-Jai the man.
This is the future, okay? This is the future Gen Z wants, okay? We have to fight back.
They want to replace all our vowels with Y's, bitch. Cooter has to hit 3 of these 5 points to be considered a Cooter, but we want the Cooter with the most points. The 5 points of Cooterdom are sexual deviance, manipulation, smug arrogance, I can't look at smug arrogance, overall looking attire, and overall patheticness. Boys,
I'm doing for the record.
Do we have a kiter this week?
A kiter?
Kiter.
A kyber crystal.
They're kiting checks.
I mean, kiter of the Wyke.
Start with your boy Vike Tire.
Oh my god,
Vyke Tire,
Vyke
Frankenstein,
your boy,
my boy Vyke Tire. Yes,
I mean he's hitting
so
a
smug
bunch of
arrogance.
points.
Oh yeah.
Check. Smug as fuck.
Oh yeah.
Manipulation.
Check.
Oh yeah. Sexual deviance. I would say yeah. We established this before. I can't remember what episode, but you can snake your boy's girl, but you can't snake your brother's girl. So
And you probably shouldn't be pining after direct like somebody who looks exactly like your mother.
I mean, he wants to
Who is your
bang his
mother?
mom. Yeah, he wants to bang
the
his
man wants to bang his mom. We got Oedipus
So,
Rex in the building.
Sexual deviance.
Oedipus Rex.
Looking at attire though, I don't remember anything looking.
The man looks fly.
Yeah,
I don't.
Even his prosthetic leg is dope looking.
Yeah, I don't think he had any moments. Of
That
looking
wasn't a
attire.
prosthetic, Randy.
Whoa. Overall patheticness, though, I would say yes.
Yeah,
I would say
think
he's
so.
pathetic in many ways.
I mean,
One, he just gets straight up rejected by Mia Goth in a pretty pathetic way.
what a loser!
Only
Can't
He got
even
rejected
lock
by
it
his.
down.
He got rejected by his brother's fiance. What a fucking loser!
can't even lock it down.
But yeah, I think he has many pathetic moments in this film. So
That's 4 out of 5. That's pretty.
4 out of
fucking
5, everything, but
Yeah, I
he's
think it's
looking
a
fly.
solid.
So yeah. What about Mr. Syphilis?
Mr. Syphilis. I think he's got
Harlander.
maybe a little like Harlander. Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
I mean sexual deviance. Like you could argue it. I feel like maybe it's underplayed enough to where I feel like maybe it's just like a oh fuck.
He does.
You know, it just could be
actually.
a fucking accident.
He does offer his daughter Elizabeth to Victor, like
It's his niece.
his niece. Well, yeah, he offers her to Victor in
What do
a
you
weird
mean?
way.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, when
Yeah,
he's
he
like,
says, "I'll even give you Elizabeth" when he's
Yeah.
bargaining for trying to convince
to
Victor
put his consciousness in the creature
to
Fuck, I
save
did not
him.
remember
before
that.
he falls to
Yeah,
his
he's
death.
even like, "Yeah, I'll even give you Elizabeth."
I would qualify
Yeah.
that more as pathetic than anything else.
Yeah, it is pathetic too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is pathetic. Manipulation.
I don't know. Maybe.
Think so. I mean, he
Yeah,
is
I guess
keeping
not.
his primary request to himself, but he does say up front, like, maybe I'll
that's-
ask you for a
that can be
favor
private.
later.
Favor, yeah.
So I
Yeah.
mean, he's up front. He's like, I'm going to give you all the money and,
And he's
resources
giving-
you want.
And he does. Like he lives up to his end of the bargain.
Yeah,
There
he does, yeah.
is. There's a moment of smug arrogance with him in the bathroom with Victor that
Oh
made
my
me
God, the
laugh pretty
bathroom.
good. When he's
forgot about that,
stream.
yeah.
he's peeing and he's like French porcelain chimes to a man's stream. Like
So weird.
washes his
love
hands and walks out the room and he's like, "Oh, would you mind flushing that, Baron?" He's so fucking
Yeah.
petty.
That's the thing is like he is so fucking hoity-toity. He is like he is living the upper crust life, and he's like, I thought you said the resources are unlimited. He's like, but my patience is not, and all this
Yeah.
stuff. He thinks he can circumvent death by his acumen as a businessman. Everything he does,
It's gonna
everything
pay
he
for
has
eternal
is
life,
going to
yeah.
somehow overcome death. I would qualify that again in the pathetic category as well.
Yeah, I think so.
so
So I think
smug arrogance.
So pathetic,
Maybe,
smug
dude.
arrogance, maybe some sexual deviancy, maybe a little manipulate. Oh no, we said no manipulation. Yeah, looking attire, man's got syphilis.
I mean, he's dying, so yeah.
but he
Doesn't look-
carries it real well.
He
most
does.
of the time.
That cane is pretty cool.
He's got a naked
I mean,
lady cane.
he-
Can't knock it.
Before
Drugs
the
hidden
wig
in it.
comes off, the man's looking pretty fly. I
yeah,
gotta say.
that's true. That's true. All right,
It's
maybe
like,
not.
yeah.
Maybe not really Cooter or Cooter light.
Sure,
Very
at least
slight.
at least lighter than Victor for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah, light.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, I don't think there's any other major. Not the captain. Not Mia
No.
Goth. Not the creature.
The creature, really, no.
Nobody else, really. I think.
the brother, no. Yeah, that's,
No,
that's
not William.
about it
Yeah,
for me.
maybe the dad.
Oh yeah, maybe the dad. But
Mug arrogance.
I have a theory about the dad that like I think that the way he treats Henry, it's Henry, right? The brother.
The younger brother.
William.
What's-
The way he
yeah,
treats
William.
William.
I keep getting these fucking names mixed up. William, like he treats the brother like younger brother as a child, like as your child, as a person,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
normal person might. And it's like I wonder that if his father hadn't started when metamorphosizing into a more reasonable person later on, it seemed like maybe that
seemed
was
like
the case.
it. Yeah.
But Victor, of course, couldn't see it that way until
Yeah.
he died. So anyway, that's a whole other thing. I don't know. I think it's Victor, man.
Yeah, nobody's
It's
gonna beat
very
Victor.
clear Victor.
Yeah,
King
That's
Cooter.
Victor.
he's a bastard
He's top
man.
dog. He's top dog.
He's a bastard.
He's a bastard man. We got him. Lock him up.
We got him.
Throw away the key.
All right.
We're going to skip what we've been watching because we've been going a little long. We got 1 million voicemails. Maybe we can get to a couple of them or so. But let's see what we can do.
Hotline Scream.
If you guys would like to call and leave a voicemail to be featured on next week's show, hit us up at 904-638-3231. First up, we're going to hear from our friend Matt. Not Matt S., but another Matt. Let's hear what he's got to say.
Welcome, Matt.
Hey, straight boys. It's me, the outvisible man. Closet free since 93, you know what I mean? Anyways, I was hoping you can do me a solid. I'm absolutely in love with Sexy Dracula, and I really, really would like to get to know him better. I was at a party with him the other night, but it's like he just can't see me. You know, for obvious reasons. You know, we have so much in common, though. I think he'd really like me, like we both have no reflections, you know, because I've been invisible, and we both like to suck. We both live in a castle. I mean, it's his castle. He doesn't know I live there with him, but, you know, don't tell him. If you do see him, if he's heard the rumors about me, about the bestiality, that's not true. That's not true. I was bottoming for the Wolfman once, and he transforminated halfway through, and that's it. It was just a little bit. Anyway, you straight boys, you keep doing your thing. Love you guys. Bye-bye.
The outvisible man? Is that what I heard?
That's what you heard.
Do you know who that is, Bob?
I do. Yeah, it's our boy Matt. The outvisible man.
Wait, Matt. You said not Matt S?
No.
Guys,
other Matt.
very clearly said the outvisible man. I don't know why you're confused. I don't know
another Matt. Do I know this person?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that you've met them, but they're also invisible, so you might have a hard time.
Yeah, yeah. But don't worry, they're living with Sexy Dracula. So
yeah.
We can pass along that information. You know, I don't know, like the bestiality thing, just a little bit of bestiality is not a great pedigree. I'm just going to say it's not a clean slate.
Wolfmangs need loving too. You know.
Who among us? Am I right?
Oh boy.
We'll see what we can do.
All right.
Thanks for calling out, Visible Man. Keep living loud and proud.
Quietly and in somebody else's corner.
Yeah, that too. Next up, we're going to hear from our biggest fan, your boy Nas.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's Nas here, calling in because the prompt for from last week's episode was what we did this Halloween, and as you know, as I sent a picture in the Slack, me and my girlfriend went as Pennywise and Georgie. First of all, that was like the paint job on my face. It took like an hour. You know, it's surprisingly hard to turn you even more white, like white. My dad did it all, like amazing job. He did really good because I got a lot of compliments from where we went. We went to like this Halloween parade in my city, where you walk in the parade and then there's like candy at the houses there. Houses are like decorated with everything, and there was like a prize for the best decorated house. We went on a lot of photos because surprisingly a lot of kids know Pennywise. Like when the first movie came out in 2017, I was how old was I? I was like 16. Was I 16? Math is hard right now. I was 16, I think. 16 or younger, 15, I don't know. But man, I'm drawing this out. I'm sorry. We got a lot of pictures with small child, like one 6-year-old came up to me and he was like, Pennywise. I was like, how does a 6-year-old know who Pennywise is? Like, what parent does their child watch it? But anyways, then we went back home. We get some McDonald's. Then we watched Until Dawn again because I love that movie. I saw it in the theaters when it first came out. I love the game, so I wanted to watch the movie again. But other than that, we didn't do a lot. We did more before Halloween than we did on Halloween. But yeah, otherwise didn't do much.
And time ran out on old Nos.
I think your boy Nos was smoking some of the devil's lettuce on that one.
Oh boy, I don't know. Is that legal in Europe?
When he said Until Dawn, the movie, I love the video game. For some reason, I thought of the Before Sunset series or whatever. Isn't that like a Twilight
sub book or whatever?
No. It's an Ethan Hawke fucking romance.
Oh yeah. Until that's like, right. Yeah,
there's a video game of that shit.
Before sunset, sunrise. Or okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotcha.
I don't know. That guy.
Oh my god.
And I'm fucking this up. I'm fucking this up. I love that. Or whatever.
No pressure, man. Glad you had a good Halloween. Sounds like you had a dope costume too. Congrats on the.
Oh, and by the way, kids, man, I see more kids dressed as fucking Art the Clown these days than just about anything else. There's no limit on what's going on. I've literally personally witnessed a drive-in theater situation where somebody brought their no more than 4-year-old kid to see the Evil Dead remake.
The Evil Dead remake.
Evil Dead remake. That's Evil Dead spelled with Y's.
That's fucked up, right? That's just not me. That's pretty fucked up, right?
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
No, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
I think so.
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad parenting.
I can't believe there's question of that. But yes,
okay.
It's fucked up.
Okay.
Hey, thanks for calling, Nos. Thanks for calling. Happy Halloween. Next up, we're going to hear from our boy, Miles. Let's hear what he's got to say.
Whoa.
What's up, guys? It's Miles here. 3 weeks in a row. I mean, calling it, I think. Okay. But yeah, I was listening to last week's episode, and y'all had the voicemail about Skinamarink sticking with was it Justin's brother that called in? I can't remember. I was literally just listening to it. But he was saying about Skinamarink sticking with him. Dude, I agree. Skinamarink fucked me up, man. I had to I got home and my girlfriend at the time was not home, and I had to go switch the laundry over, which was in the basement. And I had to take my cats down to the basement with me because I was so freaked out by that by Skinamarink. Well, no, I get why that one doesn't work for people, though. That's a very, it works for you or it very much does not. But that scared the shit out of me. Yeah, Skinamarink. But I think the one, and it wasn't a movie, it's a short story. The one horror story that stuck with me more than anything I've ever read watched is The Jaunt by Stephen King. It's never been adapted to a movie or anything, but it's a short story. It's a quick read. So, I mean, if you're not into reading, it's not like a 1,000-page novel. But holy fucking shit, dude! What is wrong with that guy? That is so existentially fucking terrifying. I for months after that, after I read The Jaunt, I'd be driving down the road and I'd just think about some of the implications he from the story, when you find out, kind of what's going on, and the twist, I guess, quote unquote, at the end, and I'm like, holy fucking shit, that's awful. That is awful. That is terrifying to think of. So yeah, if no one has read The Jaunt, check that out. That'll fuck your whole life up, man. Yeah, y'all take care.
That's interesting. I haven't heard of that.
I think he's mentioned it before. I have not read it, but I'm curious. Blast through a short story that'll fuck your life up real quick.
And like the Skinnamarink, totally like that's hilarious. Like he's right. Either you allow your imagination to run wild from that movie, or you don't. Like there's really no in between. You have to open yourself up to it by choice, pretty much. And also, what was I going to say? Fuck, I don't know. It made me think of another property that stuck with me as being really fucked up and horrible, which is a short film that we have all talked about before. I believe it's called, if I'm not mistaken, the thing about the Johnsons, or something
Me and you
about
did a
the
mini
Johnsons.
cast on that.
Yeah. So that's a Ari Aster short.
Yeah.
God, Ari Aster, dude. That dude's
working through some shit that is fucked up. The strange thing about the Johnsons,
to our benefit, because Jesus Christ,
it's on YouTube. It's like 20 minutes or something like that.
Yeah. And actually, that's the only short of his that I've watched. I should watch some more because they're probably equally fucked up.
It is fucked up, yeah. Treat yourself. Check it out.
Treat yourself. If that's what you're looking for, that's the kind of recommendation.
And then go watch Beau is Afraid for a fun short romp.
Anxiety free.
God damn it! I hate that movie.
Make sure you check in with a loved one before and after, please and thank you.
Thanks for calling, Miles. Appreciate you. Next up, we're going to hear from our friend the librarian. Let's hear what she's got to say.
Hey, ghouls and gals. So I know you're all wondering how I got into horror movies. And I think it was honestly the Saw posters. Like, I vividly remember seeing the Saw 2 poster, the one with the cut off fingers, as a small 8-year-old child, and going, all right, what's going on in those theaters? But alas, I was 8, so my very Catholic mother was not taking me. I did get vaguely obsessed with Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees. I'm guessing because Freddy vs. Jason also came out in 2003. I know I had a fan art drawing of them fighting in the cornfield in my locker, and I remember reading the scripts for Friday the 13th movies, me reading, shocking I know, but reading them online because I couldn't watch them. Anyway, my first real horror movie came when I was 12 on a JetBlue flight to New York. I was seated next to my dad, and he, in typical dad fashion, passed out mad early, so I was free to watch whatever. I vividly remember either narrowing it down to either Nightmare on Elm Street or The Silence of the Lambs. And drumroll please, I picked The Silence of the Lambs. Because Freddy Krueger legit scared my ass. Anyway, lo and behold, Silence of the Lambs rocked. It's still one of my favorites to this day. I didn't fully grasp all of it, but hey, a dude rips a guy's face off. I was partying. I remember also being a total little shit when we landed. I looked at my mother and I was like, I watched a horror movie. She looked at my dad all mad, why weren't you watching her? And then asked me, well, what did you watch? And I told her, and she was mortified because my mother has only seen 4 horror movies in her life, and Silence of the Lambs is one of them. So, sorry, Mom. Bye.
I think librarian should be apologizing to her dad on that one.
Threw him under the bus.
Kind of threw dad right under the fucking bus. Hey, Mom, guess what Dad let me do?
It's a good place to start.
That's an intense one. Yeah, intense one for a kid, but a good one that often horror lovers still recognize as, or non-horror lovers still recognize as true cinema.
Great. Yeah.
Cinema.
Great. Classic.
Cinema.
Thanks for calling, librarian. Way to fuck your dad over hardcore. We love to hear about that. Last but not least, let's hear from our friend Logan.
What is up, my guys? I unfortunately don't think I'm going to make it for the Frankenstein episode because I forgot that it's not Saturday, it's actually Monday. It's what happens whenever you don't work a regular job, I guess. But I just wanted to call in because y'all are covering a fantastic film. I am so excited to hear y'all's thoughts on it. I really hope that y'all address the sexual tension between Victor and Christoph Waltz's character. It was obviously there. It was not even some fake gay scenario I made up in my head. I know it was there. I know all y'all felt it. That was really important for me to be addressed if y'all didn't address it. But also, fucking Del Toro knocked it out of the park with this one. I can't wait to watch it again. Honestly, I'm so happy that it's already like super readily available on Netflix. I was lucky enough to see it in a theater, and I talked about this in the Slack afterwards, but Diego and I also casually walked out behind Andy Milonakis after the movie, which was kind of crazy once Diego pointed it out to me because I didn't realize who it was. But either way, honestly, I just had to call in because I'm so excited to hear other people talk about Frankenstein. There are not any other people in my life who have seen it yet. On November 4th, I texted my friends to make sure that they go vote. And then on November 7th, I texted my friends to make sure that they go watch Frankenstein. And hopefully they at least did the first one, but so far none of them have done the second one. Anyway, as y'all know, well, as I state 1,000 times a year, Del Toro's The Shape of Water is like my all-time favorite movie. Sexy Fish Man knocked it out of the park, and then now we have Sexy Frankenstein's Creature also knocking it out of the park. Del Toro really makes movies for the weird girlies who love themselves a creature. So what can I say? Abe Sapien can get it too. Hell yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys are great. I hope y'all have a wonderful week. And I cannot wait to hear y'all's thoughts on Frankenstein. If y'all give it anything less than 5 all across the board, I will have a freak out. Anyway, love y'all. Bye.
Lucky for us, Del Toro is making banging monsters sexy, so, you know.
Making banging monsters sexy again.
Hell yeah.
We're on the right track there,
before we
boys.
unpack the rest of that, I just want to ask why you're getting rides from the Babadook like that.
There's a
like,
demon really shit in the background.
It's like, what? Is this a bit? What's happening?
Might want to check that out. That exercised.
I don't know about this Harlander Victor.
I see it.
Wishful thinking.
I totally see it. Yeah, they share some glances, and there's a moment where Victor, I think, sits down at the piano bench, and he very coyly taps on the other side for Harlander to come sit next to him. There's a moment where Victor reaches across him, and they make eyes, and there's I think there's a little something to it, maybe. Yeah.
Maybe, but he's got syphilis from a woman, theoretically.
I mean, maybe he ain't turning much of anything.
Actually,
down.
we don't know. Actually, I guess that's true. I don't know. I'm not gonna poo-poo that interpretation. But if there's a gay subtext, I was looking for it between the monster, the creature, and Victor, because I've had that discussion before, and even that I didn't really see much evidence of here.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I could see a little bit of that happening.
Maybe, but
I won't yuck your
dreams.
I will not give it a 5-star though. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry for making you freak out because none of us gave it a 5-star. Apologies.
Nobody did.
Apologies.
It's imperfect.
5 stars though. So,
but that creature dick.
Guys.
That creature dick is perfect.
I really tried to make that bit come back. Just wasn't gonna happen.
Thanks, Randy. Thanks for calling in, Logan. Always love hearing from you. Again, if you guys want to call in and leave a voicemail for next week, hit us up at 904-638-3231. You guys have any prompts for next week?
I don't even know what we're covering.
You want to know what we're covering? Here's what we're covering.
Tell me.
It's the winner of the November poll. We're talking about Freddy vs. Jason from 2003, the classic cornfield movie.
Oh my god!
Give us some of your favorite imagination head-to-heads. Give us could blah blah blah.
Crossovers.
Blank movie.
Go
imagination head to head.
Well, just saying who could go toe to toe with each other? Would you?
I mean,
it doesn't even have to be horror, but
we'll talk about this more, but like in the horror realm, when Freddy vs. Jason came out, I was like, all right, well, next they're gonna have to do like, you know, Freddy versus Jason versus Chucky versus Ash or some shit. And they did do some comic books to that effect, I think. But
yeah, for sure.
Outside of the horror realm, I don't know,
like Spider-Man versus.
Well, that's
Green
comic books are
Lantern.
already doing that shit. I don't know about that. Like,
But anything,
and,
just whatever.
James Bond versus Dracula. We did that on Cinema. It worked out.
Sexy
really
Dracula versus Edward.
Visible Man.
Sexy Dracula versus unsexy Dracula, aka Edward.
Sparkle Boy. Who wins? 904-638-3231. Like I said, next week we're talking about Freddy vs. Jason. Slam it into your eyeballs. Get ready for next week's show. We're on all the social medias. Just search Straight Chilling Podcast. We'll pop right up. Also, there's hyperlinks in every episode. Click on them. Go nuts. Click on all of them. If you're going to join in the daily Slack channel conversations, let us know on one of the social media outlets, and I'll send you a link so you can join in on the fun. And until next week, as always, all you mother truckers, please keep chilling.
We're going to send out to the dulcet sounds of the Out Visible Man.
Here we go gathering nuts in May, nuts in May, nuts in May.